In this session, we're still looking at the polar form of a complex number. So let's review again. This is the imaginary axis, and here's the real axis. A point in the complex plane of a comma b corresponds to the number z is a plus bi, and the directed distance from the pole to that number z is equal to r. And remember, we defined r as being the modulus of z, and we're under the assumption r is greater than or equal to 0. And the angle theta from the polar axis to that directed distance r was called an argument of z. And if we restrict ourselves between negative pi and positive pi, then we defined theta as the principal argument of z with a capital A. So for example, the question says we want to write the complex number z as 2 plus I in polar form. Well, we want to identify, here's the geometry. Here's our coordinate system. Here's 1, 2, and I. So there's our angle theta and our modulus of z. The modulus of z is equal to the square root of a squared plus b squared. For this particular number, the modulus of z is the square root of 4 plus 1, which gives us the square root of 5. And if we remember from right triangle trigonometry, we can say the tangent of that angle theta is equal to b divided by a. Theta would be the arctangent of b over a. For this number, we would have the theta is the arctangent, so this side here is 1 and 2, arctangent of 1/2. And you can convert that inverse tangent of 1/2 into a radian or a degree measure by taking the arctangent of 1/2. The polar point would be equivalent to the square root of 5 comma arctangent of 1/2. Question says write -1 plus the square root of 3i in polar form. Find r as the modulus of z, and that was the square root of a squared plus b squared. R is going to equal the square root of -1 squared plus the square root of 3 squared. And simplifying, we would have r is 1 plus 3, or r is the square root of 4, which is 2. And theta is the arctangent of b over a. So theta is the arctangent of the square root of 3 over -1. Theta is the arctangent of negative square root of 3. And the arctangent of negative square root of 3 corresponds to the unit circle. So if we remember unit circle, we would have 2 pi thirds. So the polar point is 2 pi thirds, and that corresponds to z is -1 plus the square root of 3.